You ready?
Yeah, all my notes got deleted.
Yeah. All right. No one's believing that you had notes, sir.
Wow. Edit that out.
All right. So we're here on the Backbreakers and Bites podcast, episode 10. It's a big episode, so we got a big guest. Got Gillian Robertson, one of the best female fighters in the UFC, pound for pound. Destroys everyone, fights out of the goat shed. She chose the salty donut because, of course. Gillian, you want to tell us why you chose this spot?
I love my sweets, man. That's it. I'm like, the salty donut never lets me down. Always right there on Uber Eats. Can call them anytime. So I had to come here.
All right. Well, thank you for coming and sharing this with us. I, too, love the salty donut, so I was more than happy to come do this.
This is my first time. Because anytime I'll come here, it's sold out.
Sold out, exactly.
Sold out.
I don't know if that's the case anymore. Is it? Like, do they still sell out on you?
Oh, no, I still feel like you got to order them early in the day. You can't go too late because if you start looking at it like later on in the day, then it's definitely sold out 100%. At least all the good ones.
Then you get the Uber Eats guy shows up to the window. Hey, sorry, the best we could do is glazed.
Yeah, exactly.
And then he shows up to goat shed and you guys are all standing there angry.
Just sitting there with their arms crossed.
I'm going to take a bite out of the dress leche I ordered.
Wait, excuse me? You definitely didn't order that.
I think I ordered the banana and...
Yeah. Say it. Go ahead.
I don't want to say it. The banana and cream pie. Oh my God. We should have gotten napkins.
Probably our biggest mistake so far.
Just take the water from the plant.
I'm going to start with a hard-hitting question, okay?
Well, don't jump, all right? Remember.
I'm jumping far.
Remember.
No. How long have you had red hair for?
Oh, damn.
So it was like right before my first pro fight, I decided to dye red. I don't know why, really. I guess I'm just a fan of like impulse decisions. Just kind of wanted to do it. And yeah, it was just right before I turned pro, I did it. So it's been like 7 years now.
A lot of recognition, right? And Jenny, the girl with the red hair. I know who that is.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of stuck with it at this point. I feel like I would have been cool going back to my normal hair at this point, but it's how everybody knows me, and it's just my identity, so it is the savage.
That's not a bad identity. I saw you were struggling, like, hey, what's some red hair costumes? So it's like, damn, it is holding you a little bit back, right?
Oh, yeah, no, I've definitely gotten pretty creative. I don't know why, I love getting dressed up for Halloween. I think I just have, like, a little bit more of, like, an artsy, like, creative side that I like doing stuff like that. But then, like, I just go and, like, sit on my couch and get high. Like, that's about it. So I just want to get dressed up and look cool to do that.
Hey, it gives you an excuse. It's all good.
Exactly.
So... we spoke a little bit before. You said that you're good with everything, so we're just going to ask everything. But we usually start from the beginning. You are Canadian, but you moved to Florida super young. At what point did you start getting interested in like martial arts and stuff? Like, was there a backstory to anything?
I guess this goes back to my impulsive decisions. That there was absolutely no, like, I guess, nothing that like led me in the direction of mixed martial arts. I grew up with, well, like obviously born in Canada, both very Canadian parents who they're like, if anybody's ever like bullying you, starting problems, just walk away, don't start problems, don't hit them back, don't do anything like that. So it's like very like pacifist parents, nonviolent. So I grew up volunteering with animals. That's all I did, like, from the time I was 7 till I was about like 17, I would say. I volunteered at a horse rescue, at a wildlife rescue, at the Humane Society. I worked at vets' offices. So it was like, that was like my trajectory, 100%.
That was here in Canada.
That was in Port St. Lucie. So, yeah, I was just growing up in Florida, just working with animals. And then for some reason, when I was 16, I told my dad I wanted to try kickboxing. And I was just adamant about it, that I wanted to try kickboxing. And there happened to be a guy who worked for him who was actually a pro fighter for my coach today, Dean Thomas. So I ended up starting at Dean's gym when I was 16, and like I said, still work with him to this day.
Dean had a gym in Port St. Lucie?
Yeah, he had 2 gyms in Port St. Lucie.
I had no idea.
Am I tripping, or was he training in Orlando for a little bit too?
Yeah, he used to actually back in the day with
Longwood, I think.
Yeah, Paul Rodriguez and them. But Yeah, he had 2 gyms in Port St. Lucie, and Dean actually grew up in Port St. Lucie as well.
See, did not know that. That's random.
Yeah, so it's just kind of both of us randomly grew up in this little small town and happened to find each other. And it's honestly, like I said, I wouldn't have picked any other coach. He comes down to Goat Shed from Port St. Lucie to Miami 2 to 3 times a week for me now,
damn.
just to work with me.
I thought he was like traveling a lot.
Yeah, he is. Literally, so it's like Monday, Wednesday, sometimes Friday, he'll be down at Goat Shed, and then he'll be in like Abu Dhabi, be in Vegas, be in wherever. He's traveling all around with the UFC as well.
Damn, he believes in you.
Oh yeah, I feel like I believe in him and he believes in me just as much. And it's like he said, we have a 12-year relationship at this point that I feel like it's stronger than most bonds that people have with their coach.
So you tried the kickboxing and you jumped right into American Top Team.
Yeah, I started with like cardio kickboxing. So it was like me, a 16-year-old girl in the class with like a bunch of soccer moms.
Yeah.
And I tried that for a little while. Then one of my friends who wrestled at my high school started the MMA class at Dean's school. So he started coming in and was like, well, why don't you try it? And I was like, okay, I'll have a partner. Let me try it. And I just kind of fell into it more and more from that point.
And then, so I'm guessing your passion is the grappling. Like you started in the cardio kickboxing and then you figured out the grappling, and it looks like that's like your style. Like you said, people on Instagram are always roasting you for the striking, for God knows why, because honestly, your fights look pretty good. I mean, you've lost like a handful of times and it's never crazy, but like you just fell in love with the grappling and focus, or it's just that's what was available?
I just think it kind of came more naturally to me, honestly. Like I don't really know what it was. It was a couple of years after I started striking and everything that I started jiu-jitsu. But once I started, I just felt like I got good at it fast. And I just fell in love with it. It's just the technical aspect of it. Back then, I was like walking 115 pounds, being a 16-year-old girl. And I was able to manhandle like 200-pound guys. And I was like, okay, this is awesome. This is why I fell in love with it. And it's just like all the science behind it that you can constantly keep on learning in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Were you a bottom player from the beginning?
Initially I was a bottom player. Now I feel like I'm more of a top player, but I feel like the fact that I have both benefits me so well because now I'm just dangerous from everywhere. So It's like now you don't want to take me down. Now you don't want me on top of you. It doesn't matter where we are. I can finish the fight.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. I whispered.
I would whisper too.
I was saying now
everyone will see why after.
Now 230 guys. So there was really, you never wanted to compete per se. You just joined that, and it's just one thing led to another. Is that?
Yeah, kind of. I always make the joke that I'm like, my manager just asked me to fight, and I was too socially awkward to say no, because I'm pretty sure that's what happened.
I feel you.
Let me ask, were you a blue belt?
I actually don't even think I was a blue belt.
Oh, damn.
I think I was a white belt when I had my first fight.
Holy shit!
Because
Yeah.
I noticed I've trained for a little bit too, and like when I started training, it's like any gym you go to, like I got my green belt. And they were like, you thinking about fighting? I'm like, well, yeah, but we don't have striking. This is a jiu-jitsu gym.
It's like, what do you guys need?
And then I got my blue belt at another gym. They're like, you ready for a fight? I'm like, do we have a striking coach? It just feels like that's the thing. They're like, all right, you know enough jiu-jitsu. But now, like, even these little kids that are training jiu-jitsu are like freaks of nature. You've got YouTube and all these instructionals now. I think like back in the day, a blue belt was dangerous, but now it's like,
I was just watching the ADCC this last weekend with the kids. There was like 2 6-year-olds who were just going
It's
at
awesome.
it. It was crazy.
they're so technical.
It was absolutely mind-blowing, the technique.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Yeah, no, I'm like, the next generation
Like,
is just
have you seen the Rule of Tula brothers?
Oh, yeah.
Like, did you see when they were kids, though?
I didn't see when they're kids,
Oh,
but now they're killing it on the scene as adults.
These kids were like 5 years old doing Baron Bolos and stuff. It was ridiculous. I'm like, halfway through, I just end up on my head not knowing what the hell's going on. And these kids are like, yeah, perfect back take from a Baron Bolo. Like, how do you can't even pronounce that word yet.
That's when we were talking earlier on. Like, there's no way I could jump back into it. I feel like it's been 10 years now. And like you said, like, I got my blue belt.
You're older and wiser now.
Oh, God. And then the second I got my blue belt, I was like, I've achieved it. I'm done. And I left.
I'm there.
And I'm there.
Hey, feel free if you want to eat the donuts to just cut us off and eat. Because we keep doing that. Like, we'll end up asking so many questions you guys don't get to eat.
Roy didn't give a fuck. Roy ate
Just ate
right through it.
Grant ate it. Grant was like, "El, this is you," for about 5 minutes.
You take care of this.
2 bites, he devoured that burger. In 2 bites, it was gone. He said he didn't eat all day just to be able to eat these calories.
It's a struggle of cutting weight a lot of times. And like, just honest, like, I went from 2 back-to-back fight camps for my last 2 fights. So I was in a weight cutting state for 6 months straight. And I was just in mental torture constantly.
So there's no such thing as, like, when you guys are cutting weight, there's no such thing as a cheat meal, correct? Like,
no, not at all.
Not even to slide a little candy in there.
Well, do you just like being super clean because you feel better? Because I mean, I know you could probably get away with just eating this all day if you kept the calories good.
Honestly, I couldn't. To make 115, I couldn't at all. Like, I have to be so strict on my diet when I'm making 115. I'm like measuring out everything, making sure.
No, but like I'm saying, if you had the like the caloric, like if you ate like 5 of these a day only.
Well, it's like, even if I did that, though, it's just, I'm telling you, like, for 115, it's so strict. It's just like,
So you're really cutting to get to 115.
Like,
then.
I feel guilty about eating peanut butter. Like, that is my cheat. I'll have a scoop of peanut butter, and I feel guilty about it, and like, it eats away at me mentally. Like,
do you try to stay at a calorie deficit?
It's
like under certain calories.
I honestly, I have the nutritionist with the UFC. He just sends me. We have an app.
Oh, that's awesome! You got one straight like they provided, not even Top Team.
Yeah,
or, I mean Goat Shed.
Yeah,
like,
so the UFC provides us with they have nutritionists, they have physical therapists, they have everything that we need.
That's sick.
They have an app, and they just send me literally everything I need to eat on that app, and I just go by that.
So you measure it when you're home. You measure everything, and
I measure everything out, and then it's like as we get closer to the fight, he'll send me like different meal plans. So different, like, all right, now you're only eating this today, you're only eating this, or we're cutting this, or adding this. So it's like he's constantly sending me things, sending me supplements, making sure that I'm on point to make that weight.
Damn, that's awesome.
You have a whole unit behind you.
It takes that to become a champion. I feel like you need that whole team behind you.
But them like providing that's like, it explains a lot.
Yeah.
It explains a lot. Like that's why the fights have gotten so good now.
So these people, when they miss weight, they have no excuse.
No,
they're doing it to themselves.
And that's why we're doing it to you early.
Exactly.
Please don't cut us off, UFC. One day we'll be big. So you took the amateur, it was an amateur fight, right? You took it just because you felt like you couldn't say no. And then at what point were you like, hey, maybe I should do this?
I don't really know. I fell in love after my first amateur fight. I absolutely just like the rush of adrenaline.
So how did that one go?
We didn't go to the ground at all, surprisingly. It was 100% like just ratchet striking on the feet.
The best.
Like literally, my elbows are just like up here throwing punches the whole time. But I won it by decision. And then also, I guess this might have been a reason why I got into jiu-jitsu a little bit more too, was 2 months after that I had my second amateur fight. Got absolutely manhandled. And I got beat up on the feet, taken down an armbar, survived by the timer, then taken down on the second round, and armbarred again on the same arm.
Yeah.
And then I tapped that time. But after that, I think, like, I remember the next day, I was literally, like, in a sling in jiu-jitsu class.
Oh, damn.
Like, I was like, all right, I need to learn this because this girl was good at that, and I need to learn how to be better than her. So that also might have had a huge impact on, like, why I was like, jiu-jitsu's the way.
Yeah, you're really good at it now. I'm very good at it.
So you're saying you fell in love with it, and then was Dean your coach now, or from the get he was already your coach?
Dean was my coach from day one, like him, and then he had a couple instructors underneath him, like a black belt underneath him that I worked with, but it was people who he coached essentially, so all of his products.
So it's still Dean, just through someone else. Yeah,
and then also Dean would take time out of his day to come and drill with me, do privates every single day. So it's like we've been working together since the amateur days.
Did he like tell you look like you have a future in this, and then kind of push you a little more?
I don't think he ever told me. He saw my dedication. He saw that like he could call me at 2 a.m. and be like, yo, we're drilling, and I'd be like, okay, let's go. You know, it didn't matter to me. I was down to train all the time, and I feel like that's a very unique quality in somebody in general. Like for me, I feel like I struggle finding training partners a lot of times that have that same quality, you know? Yeah. Just trying to find somebody who's going to show up, that be there all the time, no matter what, reliable. And I feel like that's what he saw in me, and then he thought it was worth investing into, and he thought that I could be something because of that, just because of my hard work.
I'm just curious. Like when you would train at those early hours, or you even said that you train 2 times a day, did you smoke before and after, or you try not to smoke before?
No, honestly, it's just smoking is a part of my life. Like I smoke before and after training usually.
You get superpowers from.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like it depends on the type of person. Like some people can't handle it. I know some people who is like they smoke before training and then you go and try to like drill with them and they're just dumb. You know, it's like they're completely on a different planet. But for me, I'm like, it just kind of zones me in. I'm like, I feel like, I don't know, I do smoke before and then after training too, just to relax.
So you don't get the urge to like eat a whole 6 of these? Because I know when I used to smoke, like I could down like probably 12 of these. It was so bad.
Surprisingly, I feel like edibles do that to me.
Yeah.
I usually during fight camp I stay away from edibles because anytime I do that I'm like, oh, I want to eat something, and I said I have to be so strict on my diet.
That's next level discipline. You were able to never like stray off to the side.
Yeah, honestly, I only have to be that way when I'm cutting to 115, but that's the only times I'm like, I have to just stay so strict. It's like I'm out of camp. I'm usually walking like close to 140, so to make 115 is just a big jump.
I remember seeing in your first couple of fights, you did like jump back and forth in weight. Was that to 105 or to 125?
I was at 120. I've only had 2 fights at 115 so far in the UFC. So I've been a little bit everywhere, I guess. As an amateur, I was 115 and 105 once ever. And then as a professional, I fought 115. In the UFC, I got signed at 125 and fought 125 the whole time I've been in there until these last couple of fights. I think it was just like me growing up in the sport. It was me being 18 years old at first, walking 115 pounds, to then like I went through a huge growth spurt, started walking like 140, didn't really know how to like handle that with like cutting down to 115. So I stayed at 125 for a while, and then now I feel like my body typically is walking like between 132 to 135. So I'm a little bit smaller than I used to be, so it's a little bit more maintainable to make 115. So I just decided to make the jump back now.
That makes sense. So I know he wants to ask a lot about this, but at what point did the whole tough thing happen? Like, did they call you, or did you have to put in like an application for that, or?
So there's actually tryouts. So I flew out to Vegas. I had 5. Well, actually, before that.
Sorry. So how do you hear about it?
Just a news release.
That's
was
it?
just in the media. I just saw it, and then you have to have at least three pro fights and a winning record, which at that time I was 2-2 as a pro.
That doesn't count?
Well, you have to have a winning record. So I'm like,
damn.
It was neutral. So I was like, all right, what do I need? Like, let me just try to get a fight before this. I was trying my hardest forever, and I took like 4 short notice fights, and the other girls backed out.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, I just can't make anything work. The week before tough tryouts, I had my fight against Hannah Cyphers finally locked in. So I fought on that Saturday. Then my birthday was that Wednesday, and then I tried out for the Tough House that next Friday.
Damn.
So it's all within 1 week.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like how soon do you know if you got in the show?
Just as I take a bite.
Nah, you're good. I'm just over here like wondering if they're
water?
gonna never welcome us back after I make this mess over here.
But you honestly, it's probably about a month or so, maybe.
Damn, so that whole month you were just like, I wonder if I
They
got
just
in.
send you a video camera, and they're like, just start videotaping stuff, and like you're supposed to videotape like your house and stuff like that, and like, but they never like gave me like a you're in email, which is always kind of like, did I make it? And then they finally sent me like the plane ticket, and I'm still like, did I make it?
So once you were in the show, did they? I know they paid you guys per fight. I think you were telling me it was like $5,000 per fight. Did they give you any other incentives as like being on air, like for being an actress as during the episodes?
For being an actress.
Yeah.
So
There was no acting.
No, I know, but it's like for being on camera.
for like reality TV.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, they pay you per week to be there, so they paid you $750 per week, and then obviously $5G a fight. And then if you fight multiple times, you get paid multiple times per whatever fight. And Then, of course, we had our magical little list that we had, so you could just go write down whatever you wanted on it in the morning.
And
then
it.
the magical grocery fairies would bring it through the night, and we'd wake up and all our food would be there.
How long were you guys there for? A month or 2 months?
It was 6 weeks.
6 weeks.
Yeah.
Jesus.
It was probably the best and worst experience of my life.
Because there's no electronics, right? There's no TV. There's no
TV. There's no music. There's no books. There's
no books.
I feel like that's always the response. Everybody's surprised there's no books. No, because they don't want you to. They want you guys to talk to each other. They
want you to go crazy.
Sounds like communism.
It's terrible, but it's just like it's the boringness of the house that sucks. Everything else is like.
I wonder if they do that so you could just start, so people could start drama within each other.
I think so, and then it's like obviously you can order whatever kind of alcohol or anything you want. They're making sure that you guys are stocked.
Was there any beef in there with anyone?
I feel like my season, we were lucky enough that
everybody got along.
Yeah, most of the chicks were mature. It's like me and then Montana De La Rosa were the two youngest girls in the house. And Montana had a 6-year-old at the time, which I feel like matured her naturally.
Damn.
So it's like I was like the youngest pretty much in the house. And all the other girls I feel like were either like close to 30, above 30, and they were just mature in their lives. You know, they didn't have time for the drama. Where it's like, I feel like a lot of times they can have like the younger guys in the house where it's like they're ready to start some shit.
It does feel like more of a, I don't know. I know you girls have a little more drama, some. But like guys, when it comes to like fighting, those guys are just in the house ready to beat each other's ass.
Well, when we asked the producers like what their worst season was, which one they hated the most.
Well, with Julian Lane?
It was the 115-pound girls. They said that was the most drama that they've ever had on a season.
Which season was that? Which
that
coaches?
That was Pettis and Melendez, I want to say, were the coaches.
Yeah.
It was bringing in the 115-pound girls when there was no 115-pound division. And they're just like, there was so much cattiness and drama and like just
love it.
that going on there that they absolutely hated working with them. But they're like, I can 100% see it just based on how the show turned out, too.
I'm surprised it's still going, honestly. Like, I like the opportunity, but like the show, I'm like, damn, man, like.
I just don't understand
so many seasons deep.
Well, who would go through it with the opportunity of the Contender Series? You know, it's like that's such an easier opportunity instead of living in a house for 6 weeks and having to do all this. It's like I get one fight.
Well, it worked out for you, but do you feel like they're almost bringing in too much talent now? Like,
I don't know. I feel like the Contender Series is a good outlet for it. I don't think there's a lot of talent coming off the Tough House now.
No, I mean overall, like with the Contender Series and everything, because you got, I don't know, I like watching as a fan, like I love that there's opportunity because like I have the broken dream of wanting to do MMA. So I was like, man, fuck this. I can't strike. I'm not even going to bother. But now, like, if you fight for a couple years, the Contender Series rolls through, you got an opportunity. And there's so many like promotions that are feeder leagues. You got like the Cage Fury and you had like Titan and all that. But it feels like now they're bringing in so much talent they can't even put them on cards.
I guess I'm not feeling that necessarily right now.
Yeah. They're just giving you fights like crazy.
Yeah, no, I'm always happy.
But like as a fan though, you know, like, because you said you just like watching fights too, right?
Oh yeah.
So like as a fan, it kind of feels like you're missing out on like the days when like every card was just crazy stacked.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. I feel like a lot of times the cards that are crazy stacked now are like the no names. You know, it's like all the guys coming off Contender Series that you watch.
They end up being
guys.
the best for sure.
Yeah, and they're trying to show something. Whereas like a lot of times you see the like super stacked cards, and then they're kind of like, it wasn't a great fight.
So you're saying this Saturday is going to be boring, right?
I feel like that's how it usually turns out. But with Volk and Makhachev.
But that I was talking to someone about this like yesterday. I'm like, this fight's gonna suck. Because the last fight was so awesome, this fight's gonna suck.
There's no way we can have two.
No, because Volk's already talking crazy. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna go right in. Like, he felt weak. I'm like, oh, God. He's gonna get knocked out in 10 seconds.
Oh, don't say that, please.
I feel like nobody wants to see Volk lose.
Nah, definitely not.
I obviously everybody was rooting for him the first time, but I hate the short notice of it for him. I hate that it like how it went the first time and taking it on 2 weeks this time, especially in Abu Dhabi. I'm like, there's no climate like Abu Dhabi. Just getting adjusted to that.
That's what I want to ask you. You had that one fight against I'm so bad with the names, but it was a Brazilian, maybe Myra. But I hate to bring it up. It was one of your losses.
Yeah.
But was that crazy fighting there? Because I know they're screaming in the background. You can hear it so clear. Like, kill her, kill her.
I feel like, honestly, a lot of my early UFC fights, they just kind of threw me into my opponent's hometowns.
That's what it felt like.
I fought Molly McCann in her hometown. I fought Emily Whitmire in Vegas, which is where she was staying. I fought Mayra Buena Silva in Brazil. So I'm like, it was just kind of, I was used to it at that point. I got booed on the way out of every fight before that. So I guess I was just kind of relishing in it by that point. But it definitely... there's nothing to compare when you do have the crowd behind you. And that's why I literally cried figuring out that I'm fighting in Toronto in a couple months, because I'm like, it's so nice to be able to go home.
It's about time, right? Yeah.
Canada, they're behind the Canadian fighters. Like, that the GSP fights back in the day was nuts.
Okay, there's no moment I can compare to in my career than my one TKO against Sarah Froda in front of the Canadian crowd.
Yeah. That's got to feel like amazing.
This is a silly question. Being Canadian, do you know who's Bret Hart?
Yeah.
Okay. I had to, like, every Canadian.
Wrong side of Canada, but
it's Montreal.
Was he Montreal?
Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking because they trained in Calgary. My bad.
So everybody knows who's Bret Hart.
Yeah, everybody.
Okay, that's incredible.
You have to.
That's incredible.
They take your passport.
Yeah.
It's like when you come to America and they ask you the questions. Who is Bret Hart?
When you started training, I'm gonna take it back. I forgot to ask you, when you started training, just a kickboxing with the moms. Were you into MMA?
I didn't know MMA was a sport. I didn't know it existed. I didn't know what Jiu-Jitsu was. I didn't know anything. I that's why I have no idea how I got in my head I wanted to even start kickboxing, because I'm like, I never watched a kickboxing movie or anything like that. I never watched. I couldn't have told you the difference between WWE and the UFC. Like, it was all the same to me.
It is. It still is.
It still is.
So you don't watch TV or movies?
I do and I don't. I'm good at falling asleep during TV and movies, so I don't get into a lot of things.
You think it's because you toke before you start watching TV and movie?
I'm going to attribute it to my hard work on the mats that I'm tired, but you might be onto something there.
Do yourself a favor.
So what was the last time what was the last movie you saw?
I watched one on Netflix recently. I've been watching some spooky stuff on Netflix recently. I can't think of the name. Can't think of the name of it.
I don't watch TV. I do.
Can't get a text back from this guy. I'm like, hey, dude, we got Gillian in like an hour.
I'm busy.
I'm almost done with the show.
Do yourself a favor though. Like, one time when you're high, just put on some 80s martial arts movies. It's the greatest experience ever. I think that formed who I am as a person today.
You watch any Jean-Claude movies?
No.
No, you have to.
I have to.
You have to. It's a must.
It's definitely.
That's why I'm surprised I didn't watch things like that as a kid or something, like, to get me into martial arts.
Yeah.
I'm like, I really don't know what.
That's crazy though. Look how far you've come. You didn't even know what that was.
Yeah.
It's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
It's awesome. There's people that I grew up on MMA and they never make it.
But that really kind of lets you discover that that's your shit.
Oh yeah, no, I just fell in love with it from the time I started. It's like, I don't really know what it was. It was just it was something that was easy to have a passion for at that time, and I feel like my parents always instilled like the hard work in me, so it was easy to stay with.
So I mentioned this on the way over here, but like I like your style because I really like people like Carlos Condit, like people that just don't give a fuck if you take them down. You pulled guard in a fight. You pulled guard in the UFC. That was the greatest thing I've ever seen. Was there like a point where you developed that style where you said, I want to be that person? I mean, you mentioned it a little bit earlier where you're like, oh, I want to be great on the bottom and the top, but was there like a moment when you were starting to figure out your style where you were like, I'm just going to throw, and if they take me down, fuck it. I mean, to get to the point where you're pulling guard is crazy, but was there a point where you said, this maybe is the style for me?
I'm obviously, being a jiu-jitsu girl, I've always been very confident on my back, but just going in there, I I feel like, and my striking doesn't show it to this point yet, but I just want to be dangerous everywhere. I don't want them to be comfortable no matter where they are in the fight, you know, whether we're on the feet, whether we're on the ground, if you're on top, on bottom, wherever. It's like, I want to be in a finishing position no matter what. I want to have a potential to take you out of that fight at any single moment and you to be uncomfortable at every single moment. So it's like, that's my only, I guess, outlook when I'm in the cage.
So what was going through your head when you pulled guard though? Like, cause no, to me, I love that like so much.
I actually have one that I kind of engineered it myself. I want to say it from a lapel drag. So in gi, you can grab the lapel and sit down for like a single leg.
Right.
And I kind of modified that into an arm drag to single leg, and I use that a lot in MMA. So it's like I know I used it against Molly McCann. I used it against Maria Agpova. When I fought her too. I think I used it one more time where it's just, I literally arm drag to like a bottom half kind of, and that's essentially my guard pull. I did it to Macy Barber too.
I think that's the one I was watching, and I was like, I was so happy. I'm like, cause I've been yelled at a million times for like pulling guard and everything. Like I'm a bottom bitch, but like you did it and it worked though, cause she didn't like you pulled open guard. You didn't even pull like a closed guard. You pulled open and then you stuck to her, and that was like. That's incredible. Like, seriously, I mean, I don't think your striking looks that bad, but, like, fuck.
Like, I won't say it looks bad until, like, I can start knocking people out. I gotta have that finishing power, you know?
There's
and,
not a lot of girls that are knocking people out, though.
There isn't, but it's like there's not a lot of girls who are fighting smart, I feel like, either. A lot of them just want to work harder and just like lift more weights and do the hard work, you know? But it's
You're not
like,
gonna come out looking like the lioness?
so many people, they like focus on, they think they're doing the real hard work because they're lifting weights, they're sweating, they can post those pictures after, you know? But it's like the real hard work is all.
That's.
What does that mean?
I'm talking about fighters though, like people who are like trying to do.
Yeah, he wasn't talking about my OnlyFans. What?
And
Put that in the description.
I'm not even sure what he's talking about. Keep going.
I'm just like, the real hard work though is the technical work. It's
Right.
breaking it down, it's slowing it down, it's doing all the little tiny things and making sure you're hitting every single point and doing it a million times where it's boring as anything and you don't want to do it anymore. It's like nobody wants to do that stuff, and that's why I feel like I could develop knockout powers, because I am doing that work
Right.
to develop that preciseness. So it's like now when I do land my punch, it doesn't matter about power as much as it is the structure of my
Right.
body.
It's a beautiful thought process, because it is true, and I think that's the development that's come the most overall in like martial arts. People are like so technical now, but do you break that stuff down yourself? Like when you go home, or you just watching shit and trying to figure things out, or you got like I know you made a move to goat shed, but you're saying Dean shows up a lot. Is Dean breaking this stuff down for you and like kind of bringing you new stuff to work on to throw into your game?
Okay, Dean's my like guru.
Right.
You know, he's just, I feel like an absolute genius on everything. So I feel like he just watches me. He'll watch me throw a right hand for an hour straight. Like, just as much as I hate doing that stuff, I'm sure he does too. It's boring as anything, but he'll be like, all right, don't overturn your foot. All right, try to land with your knuckles. Try to do that. You know, whatever it is, the little tiny things, he's constantly breaking it down. So it's not necessarily bringing me new things, but just revolutionizing what we already have.
It's beautiful. So speaking of that, you did train at Top Team for a little while, and then you ended up coming to the Goat Shed, and I guess Dean also split from Top Team at that time. So what happened there?
So Dean was with it, even when he had his own two schools, they were both American Top Team affiliates. So he's been with ATT since.
So is he still?
No, not anymore. But he was with them for
Right.
ever. And then it was kind of at the beginning of COVID that I don't know if there was any prior tension.
Did you break off before they closed off to pros only?
I was kind of in the beginning of that, because they were telling me, they're like, you either gotta train with Dean or train here, because Dean was at a different location at that time.
They made you pick friends.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
So literally, I texted Dean that. I was like, yeah, they told me this, and he was like, all right, get my stuff out of my office.
Damn, they probably told him the same thing, or was he aware of that?
He just wasn't in the building as much then. So it's like, because I had to go off campus and it was during COVID, I don't know, they were trying to be super strict, and
Damn,
they weren't having it. So
that sucks to hear.
we just kind of, me and Dean did our own thing for a couple of years, for about 2 or 3 years. He literally had mats in his garage. It was
I saw that footage. Was it his garage?
Yeah, it's his garage in Port St. Lucie. And it was like me, him, Jose Shorty Torres, and then David Evans. We all just drilled together daily in there and made it work for about a year or two until it's like I just needed more bodies to work with and different looks to have. So that's what Goat Shed provides for me.
Well, I was going to ask that, so I guess that's the answer to that. I mean, did you look at other gyms around here before you ended up on Goat Shed?
Me, honestly, when we were just in Dean's garage, we kind of were like a little bit, I guess, gypsies. We traveled everywhere. We would like spar at this gym, then spar at this gym, then spar at this gym. So we were just all over the state, and I just felt like I liked the environment at Goat Shed. I like that Austin's always trying to put a lot of pressure on you. Make sure, like, during sparring, it's usually like insane there. Like, he has everybody screaming, talking shit, like doing whatever. But that's a real fight. It's like, that's how things are happening. You got to get used to that chaos, and that's what I love about it.
Yeah. So, does that help you? Do you feel like you still get an adrenaline dump when you jump in the cage?
Honestly, every single day when I go in the cage at Goat Shed, I'm like, I feel like...
Oh, man, that's... Damn.
Anxiety.
Yeah, well,
I think that's why you fall asleep so easily.
It gives you, like, I guess, a false sense of security. When, like, say when I was at ATT, I never got in the cage once, ever, there. So I'm sparring every day out in the open. Nobody's watching me. There's no pressure. Nobody's screaming. You don't have Roy sitting on the outside roasting you, you know? So it's like... It's a completely, like, pressureless environment when you're sparring, where now you have only 2 people in the cage and everybody's watching you. Now there's all that pressure. Now you have to perform. Now you have to look good. And it's like, it really does just add such a different environment, and it gets you those, like, pre-fight jitters every single day. So now I'm used to them, you know?
Yeah, it levels you up.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, I know you were saying that your parents will tell you to, avoid a fight. How are they now? Do they support you? Obviously they support you, but they're cool about it?
It was definitely a little bit of a struggle, you know? They always supported it, but I guess they never understood it until I made a living out of it.
So when you brought that check home, they're like, oh yeah,
no, I get it now, yeah. It was like when I was an amateur, Dean was bringing me back down to ATT, and I was working with, like, girls like Tisha Torres and Alex Chambers, who were just signed in the UFC, like, and I could sub them, you know, back when I was an amateur, like, way back then. They would obviously beat me on the feet, but I was like, all right, like, there's hope, you know, I know I can make it here. So it's like, from the time I was an amateur, I always knew I was gonna make it, and I feel like my parents just didn't have that clear of a vision as I did.
Yeah. Did you watch any of the, like, older women's fights, like back when Gina Carano and them were fighting?
I didn't go back as far as Gina. I would say probably about Ronda's era is where I started.
Even in Ronda's era, because the fact that you were saying that, let me not misword, you said you like stumped them?
Well, I would be able to, like, sub her, like, back in the day.
Yeah, that's where I was going with it. Like, Ronda, she's great, don't get me wrong, but I felt like that was a time when, like, women, like, the grappling was, like, levels, like, way low. Like, it was so bad. Like, I brought up Gina because who did she fight? Cyborg? She got mount, and she didn't look like she knew what to do with it, and Cyborg just shrugged her off. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And Ronda capitalized on that, like, but it was beautiful to watch.
No, obviously you can't take anything away from what Ronda's done for the sport for women. Like, she's absolutely opened the doors for us, but, like, she obviously fought in a different era, and I think we saw that when she fought Amanda.
It's such a short period. Like, it's so crazy. Like, if it wasn't for Ronda, I mean, the women might have gotten written off, and we wouldn't have a chance to be where we're at today.
No, I feel like women have kind of just, like, followed the blueprint that guys set, so it's like we've just been able to catch up that much faster, you know?
But, I mean, some of the women, like, I mean, even you, like, you guys look better than a lot of the men. Like, it's like, damn, you guys can learn. Start watching some women's fights. Like, the technique is next level now. Like, before it was like, all right, time for a smoke break or something, you know. But now it's like, all right, I got to watch this because who knows what's going to happen. Like, it's been awesome to watch.
Oh, yeah, no, the evolution of women's sports within a lot. Like I said, I feel like it really went from, like, how you watched guys in the UFC where it was sport versus sport. And that was Ronda's era when it was, like, judo versus boxing or whatever.
I don't know if I'd even give it that much credit.
But I think that now it's like we're evolving, so we're mixed martial artists, you know? We're showing everything.
I do miss that, though, the sport versus sport. That was, like, the greatest.
Okay, definitely. Honestly, I love going back. I've watched, like, UFC 1, UFC 2.
It's so fun.
I want to say UFC 2 is the best.
Oh, it's the pinnacle.
That's the one where, so I think on one, they gave the ref in trouble for stopping the fights too soon. So in UFC 2, the ref was just like, I'm not stopping this. And it just made it absolutely terrible. I think one guy must have tapped like 27 times.
But there was the rules too were amazing. Like the one dude, Joe-san, he was like a rapist or something, and then he fought
What?
I don't know
Was
if
he
it
really?
Yeah, no, dude, this is the greatest karma story ever. Because he got beat. Like the dude got him and then just started raining hammer fist on his nuts.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But the fact that this dude was a rapist.
He got wind that he was a rapist and he took him
No,
out.
I think that was desperation. But you can't write that. That's like amazing.
Well, that's life right there. That's tenfold.
No, this is cool. I'm gonna go do a fight. There's no rules, and then you just get punched in the nuts 35 times. Like
I saw a guy just like over this dude and just headbutting him straight down, and I'm like, oh god.
I see fights even with Khabib in Russia where he was throwing headbutts.
Yeah. Well, they have a Lethway where they do the.
I've heard of that too.
I thought that was like. I don't want to say fake, but I thought like they have that one dude, Leduc.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, he was like, I thought he was like a young Andrew Tate at first. I'm like, who the hell is this guy? And he's blowing up this bum ass sport, but like, a lot of people give him respect, and it is crazy. But the CTE in there has got to be like next level.
No, I can't imagine.
Like, even when you're training, you're headbutting the fucking bag.
Not gonna lie, I've definitely thought about it before. Never done it.
Do it a couple of times. Just don't do it too much. He probably does it every session.
Sometimes in a fight, though, like both your hands are tied up. You're like, all right, what can I hit him with? My head. No, can't do that.
Right. It is a little unrealistic. Do you think like bare knuckle MMA? Speaking of like unrealistic, do you think bare knuckle MMA would be better than having the gloves?
I don't know. Honestly, the gloves are more to protect your hands than anything else. Because it's like, a human head is hard. Punching it's probably going to break them. Like, that's what happens a lot. Like, I don't know if you've seen the bare knuckle boxers' hands.
Unfortunately,
that's what I'm worried about more than anything else in those fights, is their poor hands. And, like, they are always blown up huge because there's a lot of tiny little bones in your hands that are going to break. So I think the gloves are to protect the hands, not the face.
But it makes you think a little more, you know? Like, should I punch this guy right now? Or is it just going to... Because I know Mike Perry, he's always saying, I put this part of my head in the way so that when they hit it, they hurt their hand because I got a hard head. And it's like, that's crazy. But like,
I feel like you gotta be aware of like you said, like if you get hit up here, it's different than getting hit up here over here. Getting hit on the chin, it's like you're going down. You can't take that. Getting hit on the top of the forehead, you can take a couple of them and be fine.
But you don't feel like the gloves get in the way of your grappling at all?
Not necessarily, no.
Do you ever have anyone like grab in there?
Yeah, I've definitely had that. I had a girl, it was actually during my fight with Courtney Casey. She tried to armbar me and put her fingers in my glove and tried to armbar me. And I was sitting there, like, she was belly down. I look at the ref and I'm like, her fingers are my glove. And he was like, no, they're not. And I was like, all 4 fingers are in my glove. And me and Jason Herzog are just having a conversation while like I'm trying to stop this armbar too.
Can you hear that?
What?
Like if you watch the fight back, can you hear it?
I don't know if you can.
Because that would be hilarious.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
Did he bother to even...
I don't know. He said he was like, I think they're good. I was like, all 4 fingers are in my glove, and then she switched to something else. But I'm like, I don't know. It's sometimes I don't know what the refs are seeing. I'm like, I don't know if you guys saw my fight with Priscilla Cachoeira either, where it's pretty egregious eye gouge near the end. Where I'm like,
I think they like those at this point.
The ref was literally standing right there and was letting me get eye gouged.
Like, I mean, you can, like, there's a list of fights that have been like changed by eye gouges, and it just happens. And they're like, nah, it's cool. Just here's a warning. It's like, but I can't see now.
And I legit felt her knuckle in my eye. Like she
God.
was full thumb in there.
Damn, it's disgusting.
After this next fight that you have coming up, is there talks about possible title shot?
I don't think so yet. Hopefully a couple more and then we'll be up there. But I think after that it's a little bit too soon.
I mean, I don't think Pollyanna is the girl to go through to get a title fight. Not any hate to Pollyanna, but damn, like that fight you had with Tabatha, I was like, Jesus Christ, it's gonna be crazy because that was like high level jiu-jitsu match right there.
Yeah, I think that fight is just such like a dark spot in my memory right now.
I know. I hate bringing her.
I honestly, it's just such a learning moment for me of like I rushed things too much. I knew I shouldn't have taken that fight so soon after my PRF fight. Just like it was the cut to 115 that it was just too much back to back for me. So I fought PR on Saturday and I had the contract by Thursday. And so I had 4 days where I didn't have a fight. And signing that contract is like my only thought was this is going to be a lot. And literally I want to say every single day of that camp, I was on the workout bike just crying. I'd finish I always do my bike after I finish training. So it's like I'd finish like 3 hours of training, then just get on the bike and cry every single day. And I'm like, that camp, it was one of the camps where I'm like, I wish I would have just listened to myself and just pulled out. You know, I'm like, I was not in a good place. Like, I was just so burnt out after the PR camp. I just needed a break, and I wasn't giving myself it. And it was just such a big learning experience, and so obviously came out with the loss because of it.
So if you wanted to compete in like Abu Dhabi, ADCC, did UFC allow you to do that? Because I know they let you do like all the affiliated shit that's on Fight Pass, but like, would they let you do ADCC if that was something you wanted to do?
Yeah. They all grappling events, they've always been cool with me doing anything.
Is that something you'd want to do, or are you trying to stay away from that so you can like develop the striking more and not have to devote a camp to just?
I guess at this point, I'm a little bit more focused on MMA. At the beginning of my career, I was kind of more willing to do both, but I also feel like both the sports were a little bit more similar back then. Yeah. Where now no-gi is kind of its own world.
It definitely is.
MMA, like, I just feel like my style of jiu-jitsu almost doesn't fit in with no-gi as well right now, just because it's like, I don't know, all those leg locks and like all the entanglements and things like that. And like, I can blow out my knee and get put out for 6 months. And I just have to make the most of my time right now. So
that's
it's like,
I'm surprised they let you do that.
Yeah. Oh, there's one grappling card that they always do. I can't think. With Fury FC. Yeah. And they always have a bunch of UFC fighters and always do the rule no heel hooks because of that.
Of course.
Yeah, it's just like, it really is.
But there's so much stuff you can blow your knee out with. You pull De La Riva guard, knee's gone. Like,
it's just that it really is almost safer fighting MMA than it is doing a no-gi competition at this point.
At least in MMA, you're like, should I hurt something or should I just throw strikes?
It's like, okay, I'll get it. 11 stitches in my nose and I'll be good in a month.
Yeah.
Or I'll have my knee blown out. And I just thought, I know this wasn't from that, but Fiziev is out for a year and a half because of his knee blown out. It's like things that are just not, you don't want to play with.
Yeah, no, the knees it's ridiculous. They got to start figuring out how to make bionic knees. I mean, I know they're like halfway there, but like every athlete ever, but especially in like grappling, no knees. Like Usman, did you see the clip of him?
Yeah.
And he doesn't even have knees, so no, literally, the dude. I think he said he was bone on bone. Like when he fights, he's in like immense pain the whole time. But I don't know if you saw it, but he was rolling with Gaethje and he popped his knee. You could hear it in the video.
I just feel like that's kind of natural for all of us. We're just like pops and cracks and things like that. Pain.
Is there any single day that you wake up with no pain?
Like, what is that? No, yeah, I feel like I'm going to the PT right now for my hips, my back, and my neck, and my shoulders. God. So I'm like just constantly everything. So yeah, I'm like, I have arthritis. I just had knee surgery last month. I have like everything. We're getting old at 28.
Oh, that's the greatest thing ever. It's like, this is a problem for future me.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I saw the biggest smile on your face yesterday when I saw you tapping out Rose, and it must be a huge confidence booster, like tapping out a 2-time former champion. Is that what went through your mind?
Yes and no. I'm like, it's a different sport for me. I'm like, she's not a world champion in jiu-jitsu. She's a world champion in striking.
No,
but
tapped it with the good old.
Fucking die.
There is just like something that in her though, like the second we were on stage, you can just see like she throws like a couple feints at me, and my first thought, I'm like, she's fast as fuck. Like that was the only thing. Like,
was she really?
Yeah, like you can tell like that she just has that champion mindset, that champion like that you could just feel it on the mat, you know?
I did feel bad for her though. Like anytime she loses, it looks like she's about to cry, and I feel awful.
That's where I did feel bad, is in the post fight. I'm like, it just went bad. CM Punk didn't handle it well either.
Oh my
it was all
God,
very
I forgot
bad.
He was there.
Dude, you have no idea how much I cannot stand CM
You
Punk.
you love CM Punk.
I hate him.
that post fight, that
Phil?
whole post fight.
Him coming to fight in the UFC was the biggest stain ever. That fight was awesome. Though.
Didn't he call you Rose before he interviewed? He goes, "Yeah, I'm here with Rose. Gillian." I go, "That piece of shit."
I don't remember that. I just remember I was like thinking all during Rose's interview, I'm like, just let her walk away. Like, just stop interviewing her. It just went on for too long.
They do it on purpose. They know. So I think we're closing in on the time. We want to let you eat the donuts too. But now you're at Goat Shed now. And I know when I first found out about Goat Shed, we talked about this a little bit before the podcast. They just seem like the cocky, flashy, like dickhead gym. Like now meeting all you guys, and I've always loved Awesome's mindset because he's like, he wants you guys to all be the best. He has a great mind for martial arts. Like, it's awesome. But when are we gonna see some viral clips of you?
Well, soon, right?
Yeah, January 20th, 100%.
Well, I'm talking in the gym. That's cheating. When are we gonna see you jump over the cage and jump one of your teammates?
Awesome always says that. He's like, how did someone like you, like a sweet little girl, end up here? I feel like my demeanor is probably like, I don't know, not exactly Goat Shed-esque.
Hey, when we met Roy, I was like, dude, I didn't expect you to be like this at all, because all I knew him was from watching him kill people and then watching the Goat Shed videos.
And it's like, I guess that's something to say for Awesome's marketing. Yeah. And like, he's good
great.
at it. Yeah, he's great at it. He gets people talking, he gets people watching, and knows how to post those Instagram clips to make us look like I don't, even during my fights, I feel like he's posting videos where I'm just like, go ahead, post whatever. I'm like, as long as it looks good, I'm okay with it. But I'm like, it is what it is.
Yeah. Did you see that before you went to that gym?
Oh, yeah. But like I said, that's kind of what it attracted me in a way, is the chaos, because that's a fight. Yeah. That's what a fight is. Like, and it is just a fight gym. It's all fighters, and I feel like, I don't know, we all respect that.
Yeah. No, that's an awesome atmosphere. I'm glad we finally got to come check it out, because it was cool. It wasn't what I expected at all from looking at Instagram. I'm like, it's fucking cool. Almost feels like some Rocky shit.
We walked in, everyone said, hey, welcome, what's up, how are you? And I'm like, oh, they're nice. They're nice.
I'm not getting beat up.
Hey, you before we close out, I forgot to ask you. You were telling me that when it comes to Florida and Vegas, when it comes to the marijuana policy, what was it again?
So,
'cause I did not know this at all.
This is with USADA, at least. We're not going to have USADA anymore at the beginning.
Good.
They're getting some other drug testing company in now.
And then they're grabbing that guy from Top Team.
Pass.
I think he still works for the FBI. You can't do that.
But if you fight in Nevada or Florida, you just can't walk in the cage high. So you're allowed to have weed in your system, like as much weed as possible in your system. It doesn't matter. Honestly, they've called me once being alarmed by the amount that was in my system, but it was acceptable under the regulation. But typically any other state, I'm stopping like 5 days out, just because we're allowed to have a certain amount in our system. We're just not allowed to like have so much in our system any other state.
Stopping 5 days out, is that as bad as a weight cut?
I feel like it almost makes the weight cut easier, because then it's like I don't want to eat. I don't want to do it.
It's all depressed.
Yeah.
The munchies are gone, and now I'm sad.
Yeah, exactly.
I have nothing else.
I mean, I've got a million else, but
go for it.
We've got 6 minutes left, and
go squeeze them out.
We've already made her not eat the donut for like the last 40 minutes.
I'm so sorry.
It's too dry.
And
it's
the other
like
one's
taking 17 bites.
So, is there anything else you want to plug? I mean, you got the fight coming up in January. I think everyone knows that by now. But is there anything else you want to plug or put out there?
Just if you want to follow me on Instagram and Twitter at @savage_UFC. That's about it.
Yeah. And follow Goat Shed, because she might pop up viral on there. So, well, thank you for your time.
Like
I said, I thought we had no chance for getting you on. So thank you for taking time to come talk with us peasants. Really appreciate it.
Wasn't too bad.
It was a pleasure talking to you guys. And free donuts.
See, every interview, it's always the free food.